welcome to another episode of Talk and Takes. I'm your host, Ashley, and with me is my co-host,
Natasha.
Today, we're going to be talking about modern day parenting. And with us, we have Elder Mrs. Ifeanyi Sioku, a teacher by profession and a fantastic mother of 6. And to my far right, we have Mr. O.P. Cookie, an architect, a project manager, and a father. Welcome to our set. We're going to get into the conversation in a minute. We'll be right back.
Hey there! Are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Tharv Media give life to your dreams. Tharv Media, a slice of infotainment.
Welcome back. So, like we've said, welcome already. It's lovely to have you here, mother of 6, and also father of how many kids?
2.
2. Okay, so I know that right here we have the baby boomer generation and the millennial generation. So quickly, Ma, I would like to ask, when you hear modern day parenting, what comes to mind? We're not trying to say there's a traditional way, but actually what comes to mind?
Well, as a parent, what comes to my mind initially is, wow, modern day parenting. Are they really doing the job? What they ought to do? That's exactly what comes to my mind. And actually, by the time you see these children, you'll be wondering, wow, what has gone wrong in the society? So that's actually what comes to my mind whenever I hear that.
Sir?
Well, you are right. There are actually 2 kinds of parenting. There's the traditional and there's modern day parenting. Now, when you talk about modern day parenting, what comes to mind first is a parent that is up to date, that uses technology, all right, in parenting as well. Traditionally, they all have their pros and cons. Traditionally, there were ways we were raised. I came from the traditional background, but I am not a traditional parent. I am a modern day parent because one is rigid, the other is flexible. So modern day parenting is simply flexible parenting.
What are the marked differences between modern day parenting and traditional parenting? Case in point, baby boomers are between the ages of 57 to about 75 years of age, while the millennials for modern times is at about 25 to 35. So I would like to say categorically, can you state any marked differences that you see between your time in parenting and now? So I'll start with you now.
Yeah. Traditional or olden days parenting,
So to say.
right? You don't wait for a child to be, only you as a parent cannot correct a child. We have to do it collectively. If you see my child going wrong, you call him to order, or you call her to, or you report. And another thing, when that child is wrong, it's a collective effort. Both father and mother and relations. We come and make sure they put that child in the right direction. You can even flog my child in my absence. And when I come back, I won't frown at it, having known that what he did was wrong. Now, in the modern time parenting, such is not done. You can't correct another person's child. You might be taken to the police. That you might end up going to court. right? Then, at the same time, you try to avoid being abused by the child or the parents or being molested for correcting a child. Then, thirdly, I will say children of these days, you don't beat them. You will know how to handle them so that you yourself will be rest assured that you have done your own bit. And that's it. You call it off. Don't go further.
Sir?
Well, I'll take it from where she stopped. The children of these days, you don't beat them. There's a thin line between correction and discipline and abuse. Yeah, the balance is what modern day parents look out for. Yeah, I grew up in a home where I felt I was abused. Yeah,
Because we flogged a lot.
now one basic trait of traditional parenting is that parents have to be feared vis-a-vis the modern day parents who are to be respected. So one is authoritarian, the other is authoritative, but is also permissive. Have a relationship with a child. The traditional parents have relationships with the children actually, but it's more of what the parent wants than what the child wants. So as a child, I was about 33 when I told my father I wanted to get married. And he was like, why in a hurry?
At 33.
Because he still saw me as a child,
Yeah.
you know. And I attended a family meeting at 40 where they were still saying, small boy like you.
Like, when would you grow up?
So I began to imagine, when will I become a man? At the time I was already a father of two, and they still referred to me as small boy. Those are authoritarian traits.
Traits.
It's basically passed on by the older generation. So modern day parenting requires unlearning what you were taught and relearning what you need to know.
Okay, I like the differences that you people pointed out.
Yeah.
So my question to you, Ma, is you believe traditional parenting is firm. They are more firm with children than modern day parenting.
Yes.
But we are the ones that went through traditional parenting, right? And over the last couple of years, we've discovered that a lot of us suffered abuse. We were molested by neighbors, by uncles, by nannies. It's crazy. So, and that's the trauma that is causing most parents now to be protective of their children. Don't correct my child. Don't discipline my child. In short, they don't even allow their children go out to play the way we played. So, mommy, my question is, don't you think traditional parenting failed us in that aspect of exposing children to abuse? And now, sir, don't you think modern parenting is now causing children to be excessive? Yes, they're allowed to express themselves, but they're now overdoing it. So, Ma, you please.
I wouldn't say that. It didn't fail us. I was brought up in that way. I brought up my children in that way. And we don't have regrets. Right? Why? Because I feel that when you correct a child, it says teach a child. The Bible says teach a child the way he will go. When he grows up, he will not depart from it. Now, the way I was brought up, with the way we were brought up in our house, when your father comes in, you respect yourself. You rely more on your mom, telling her whatever you feel like. She will now tell your dad. And we respect our daddy so much that you don't mess up around him. Rather, you go to your mom, confide in her, then she will relate to your father. Another thing again is that you behave yourselves. You don't go out and come back in the night. Who are you? to go out and come back in the night. Or when mommy is cooking, you are outside playing, you must be in the kitchen. You must join her. Watch what she's doing, because eventually you will leave the house. I've been punished severally. I was going to grind egusi, and it was offensala. And they said I overput the egusi. It should be, just a little, a pinch of egusi. Not that I should just carry the egusi and put inside the tomato and be grinding. I was seriously punished. I was not given the food to eat that day. It's as serious as that.
Do you think that was extreme?
I learned my lessons.
So as long as the result is
Yeah, I
productive, the
learned my
process
lessons,
doesn't
yes.
matter. Okay.
So the next time, I was allowed to do it again, but I did it well. And I ate. After all, when I didn't eat, I didn't have any ulcer. It's their own way of correcting us. And he now registered. So that next time, and for example, now I left my father's house at the age of 19 because I was matured in every way. Finished school at the age of 16. Why are you to come back from school? And at the end of the term, you came back with poor results. You'll be so afraid to approach home. So you must do well to come back. And then, because I was trained, I left the house at the age of 19, had my first child at the age of 20. I was able to take care of my home, take care of my husband, who was a student. If I wasn't brought up well, I don't think I would have done that. To me, I praise myself, I did a good job because of the way I was brought up.
Okay. Sir, what do you have to say?
Wow. Well, I would say that all forms of extremes are bad in themselves. Yeah. So the balance is what we're looking out for. When she said we respected our father so much, in my head, I was saying feared our father so much. You know, when you hear the honk of the car,
Yeah.
everything just arranges itself. In split seconds, the house just arranges.
Yeah.
And everybody behaves, puts up their best character. That's fear. So we're looking for balance per time, balance. As a parent, I wouldn't raise my children the way I was raised.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I started learning about parenting at 18. When I was a teenager, I got a Bible known as the Parent Resource Bible.
Okay, so I know that you have a lot to say, but we'll come back right back into it after this short break.
Hey there! Are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Tharv Media give life to your dreams. Tharv Media, a slice of infotainment.
Welcome back. Sir, please, you were saying.
Okay, so I said I began to learn about parenting at the age of 18 after I got the Parent Resource Bible. And from that Bible, I became a parent early. I started parenting at, say, 23, 24, not biologically.
Okay.
I have foster children. Some of them are grown adults today. And right now, the method of parenting I have adopted were adjustments I made over the years. You know, there are some things I tried with my foster children which did not work. I've been able to understand it and adjust, make necessary adjustments with my kids. So let me just put a scenario out there. Traditional parents were all about the grades. They wanted the children to become what they failed at.
What they wanted them
What they failed at. So your father tries to become a medical doctor. He's not successful at it, and he says, my child must become a medical doctor, irrespective of whether the child has the capacity for it or not. So he pushes that child. A lot of adults, now parents, got damaged in that process. Those are some of the ills of the traditional parenting. Howbeit, like I said earlier, all forms of extremes are bad. Each of these parenting styles have their pros and cons. But a majority of the parenting methods out there is traditional.
Ma, I'd like to ask, I know that referring back to your story about when you overput a goosey in the oven salad and then you were punished severely, so to speak. I'd like to say, and you said it didn't affect you in any negative way, rather it made you see what you had done wrong and learn. It's a good thing, Ma, that you are able to absorb and learn maturely at such a time as that. But would you say that that was a proper offense to be meted out on a child just based on that kind of mistake? Would you say that that's something that should be encouraged, whereby if you mistakenly overdo a thing, the answer should be punish you so you get to learn, instead of talk to you and teach you how to do it better without necessarily have to punishing you?
Okay. That was their own method. And I learned my lesson. And it happened in my house, in my own house. I called my daughter, sit down.
Okay.
You don't enter the kitchen and be eating fish that you will use in cooking the soup. At the end, what happens to that soup? In case if you marry, you don't stay in the kitchen and finish the ingredients you are using.
So you corrected.
I corrected her. I didn't start
Verbally.
Yeah.
verbally.
Verbally. So
But with a very stern look.
with
Yeah.
a stern look, but verbally. So it means that in your own experience, you were punished, but you grew out of it and progressed in your thinking, and you realized you didn't necessarily have to punish her by saying, because you ate fish, you're not going to eat fish for the rest of the day. You verbally corrected her.
Yeah.
So that means that parental knowledge is transient.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right? So that means that we cannot premise our actions or how we work with our children based off of
on
what our parents did.
You have to
Be
change.
progressive about
Yes,
it.
yes.
Good. So now I'll come to you real quick. People have said that children are really behaving in uncouth ways, and we see it all the time. It's on social media. Things are happening that shocks each and every one of us. And the older generation, baby boomers, so to speak, they would say, oh, this generation of millennials, they're not doing their job. They're not doing what is right. But then at the end of the day, nobody ever started independently. It was taught, it was learned. So what would you say about that? Would you say that the baby boomers did not really do a good job with the millennial generation?
Sorry, sir, I want to give an instance to her question. I know someone that was raised in a very strict environment. Her father was extremely strict, her mom was extremely strict. She could not express herself. Even when she started being abused, she could not express herself. Don't do this, she'll find a way to do it so they don't find out that she did it, all of that. Now, as a parent, she's now over-relaxed with her children. She's now extreme. Her parents were extreme with her, and now she's extreme. So now, if we are being honest with ourselves, it's her parents that failed her. She is this kind of parent because of the kind of parents that raised her. So That would help answer your
Most
question.
parents are compensating for the gaps, the lapses they had growing up. And in a bid to compensate, they overcompensate. I've seen very worrisome situations. I've seen the last video I saw was a video of two children twerking and having some funny dance while the adults stood around them taking videos. It was worrisome for me. Another situation I had was I went to get some groceries from a shop, and a little boy, should be around 4 or 5 years old, looking straight into his mother's eyes, told her that I'm not going to carry these baskets. You are going to see who will carry it for you. And I was like, really? Oh, so I said, if this was my child, I'll just tell you, come close to me, just come. So that. Now, here's the deal. As a modern parent, the idea is never to punish the child, but to correct the child. Like I said, there's a thin line between correction and punishment. Whatever you persecute grows. So, whenever you punish a child, have you heard children say, after all, is beaten, they will beat. So they become bolder at that particular thing. So, but when you correct, they learn the lesson. So the chances of that reoccurring becomes slim. And when such a child becomes a full-grown adult, they will replicate the same thing. They will not need to overcompensate. What is lacking, or what we should focus more on in this day and time as modern parents, is balance. Trying to find the balance. When my child was to enroll into primary school, I told them that I was not interested in grades. And they looked at me. I said, yes. I said, you cannot judge the capabilities of my child by your opinion. Certificate is an opinion. It's a grade. My child, by God's grace, got the best result in her school at the time. And I said, the reason is that every child, I grew up seeing some of those things. Some adults, some of my seniors or elders lost out because their parents were always comparing them, unhealthy comparison in the home. One child is brilliant, the other is not. So they had that unhealthy comparison at home, which made them lose out. They started feeling less of themselves. So now they have children. These children must
do well.
Yes. So they want the children to succeed, which is not bad in itself, but when you want to get it, by all means, you could go to the extreme, and extremes are bad.
Okay, I completely agree with you, and I like that you said comparison. Parents have unhealthy comparison, which I know someone that she keeps saying, "Oh, if he's my daughter, I'm not worried. Even if she doesn't reach, she'll pass. But this boy, there's nothing in his head," and she'll be saying it in front of the two of them. So I can only imagine the effect it will have on that boy eventually. I also think that, in my own opinion, the hardest thing about being a parent is knowing fully well that you can't use the exact same style on each child. They are all different.
That's what modern parenting is about.
Yes, I am
Understanding the
completely different from
peculiarities
my
of
siblings.
every child.
Exactly. But aside from the fact that, okay, they say modern parenting is bad, I think one of the hardest things now for us is because as parents, a lot of us have 9 to 5. When we were growing up, our parents, you would mostly have one teacher, which would close from work the same time you're closing from school. So you always have a parent around somehow. But now everyone is working, even schools now, you're working from 7 to 4 to 6. So you still have to leave your child with someone. So how would you say, as a modern parent, you want to raise your child in the modern way, but you also have to chase the bag. You have to make money. How do you find the balance?
Well, life is about balance, generally. There's no wisdom in making so much money and losing your children. Yeah. So you need to be able, as a parent, to apportion time to every single thing. It's challenging for me. I do more than 5 jobs. Sometimes I get home tired. But this is the effect on my children. They go to bed late. My children go to bed from 10 and above because they have to wait for daddy to come home. So we could just have that 30 minutes, 1 hour. It's biting hard on everyone, right? But that's how we're able to find some balance. And then my weekends are usually more busy than
Your weekday.
my weekdays. So here's the plan. I have a target as a parent. Retirement age for me should be less than 50 because I am working so hard in my 40s. So from 50, I should have more time. I should go out when I want to go out, have more time for my family. Parenting, you need to set such.
But 0 to 5 is the most important time. From the age of 0
Zero
to
to
5
5. For me, okay, I became a parent when my wife was in law school, and it was tough. I had to take my daughter everywhere I went practically because I do not believe that I need to entrust the care of my child to another person. I had one at the time. I got a nanny who had a child. During the interview, I asked her a question. I said, there's conflict of interest here. If there's fire in this house and your child is here, my child is here, which child will you carry?
Yeah.
So I said, I could accommodate, I could work with you, but I cannot trust the care of my child absolutely to a stranger. I and my wife, we've been able to strike that balance. And so God was so kind to us. We are self-employed, so we have some level of control over our time. As a matter of fact, those were the decisions I made as a teenager, that I was going to have control over my time. Yeah. So
Okay, mommy, for someone that is not does not have the luxury of being self-employed,
Yeah.
would you say you should put parenting ahead of, your career?
It depends on what you want in life. It depends on what you want in life.
Okay.
Your family should come first before any other thing. Old parenting, old style of parenting. You don't marry somebody that will work and come back late in the night. Either it's a teacher or it's a nurse in those days. So if you are in the teacher training college, you see suitors coming. They want to marry you because you are a teacher. You will come back on time to take care of their children. That's the truth. You want your family first. Money is not everything.
Yeah.
Most of our problem now is the rat race, chasing money. From morning till night. She has a supermarket. From morning till night, 7 o'clock, she has dashed to the supermarket. Coming back around 9, 10. Where are the children? Off to school. After school, what next? Some of them will still be hanging in the school, hanging around in the school.
I like how passionate you are, Ma. I think it's because you have children and grandchildren and all of that.
Yes.
So you made mention of in those times basically, you had to look at the career of the woman to see, if we are compatible.
Yeah.
But in this day and time, there are some of us that are not teachers. There are some of us that are not stay-at-home moms. I'm coming, Ma.
Okay.
That are not stay-at-home moms. We are in media, so we work really hard, such as myself. What would you advise young people coming into parenting or already parenting? What would be your top 3 advices to them to engage in so that they can raise healthy children in this time?
Arrange your time. Number 2, arrange your time. Number 3,
Arrange your time.
Yeah, in line with what she has just said, I had to apportion my life or divide my life into 3 F's. Yeah, faith, family, and finance. Yeah, because every family, Nigerian family, has a spiritual inclination, either Islam or traditional or Christian. Yeah, so the values that runs the family is gotten or derived from some of these faith inclinations. So I have those three as a triangle.
Okay.
I look at 30, 30, 40. 40 for me goes to finance because I have seen the lack of finance wreck homes, beautiful families destroyed because of lack.
Well said. Well said. I mean, I really there are a lot more to say because I know that there are a lot of loopholes. But thank you so much for coming here today. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Ma.
for
I know
having
you
me.
raised lovely children. Thank you so much too.
Thank you.
And I hope you arrange your time as well. So that's why to do that. Well, this is Stab TV, and we're on Talking Takes. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on all social media. Bye for now.